Hey friends, I am back with a what sold video. I'm so excited to share my sales from the month of September and the month of October. If you watched my last what sold video, I let you in on a goal that I set for myself. If you have never seen my videos before, then you may not know this, but I am just a part-time Etsy seller. Like, it's a side hustle hobby that I get to do for fun. I wish I could dedicate more time to it, but just because of real life responsibilities, unfortunately, I can't. And so my goals may seem really small to some, but I feel like the goal that I set for myself is a very realistic one, but also one that will definitely further grow my small business on Etsy. And that goal was to hit at least 5 sales per month. And so I'm really excited to share with you in this video if I hit that goal or not. So let's start off with the sales from the month of September. Also in this video, I want to make sure to actually tell you how much the item sold for. I realized in my last video, I did not mention that at all. And so it was just something that I completely forgot to throw in there. I've been really bad and inconsistent with that. I'm like, sometimes I include it, sometimes I don't. But I realized in all of the videos I like to watch of when someone breaks down what they sold on Etsy for their vintage shop, they usually include how much they purchased the item for and then how much they sold the item for and what their profit was. I can give you that information because I also keep like a spreadsheet and all of that stuff. So I'm gonna try and include as much of that information as possible, but I will try and give you how much I bought the item for, or if the item was given to me for free, because a lot of times family members, if they're getting rid of something, they'll allow me to like look through their stuff. Or they'll just give me something that they came across. And then I'll also let you know how much the item sold for. Okay, without further ado, let's actually finally get into what sold for the month of September. So the first thing that sold was something that I got for free from my mom, and that was this really cute little mini wire basket. It was just a little like chicken wire basket, something that you could definitely use for Easter. In fact, I added it around Easter earlier this year, and it finally sold in the month of September. So that was free to me, and it sold for $12. And actually, the lady that bought it, Bonnie, she left me a 5-star review. So thank you so much, Bonnie, not only for that order, but for that review. I really appreciate it. Okay, next up was another thing that was given to me. I didn't have to pay for it, but I do know that the person that bought these got them for 50 cents. And that was this set of Indiana Glass King's Crown custard glasses. These were beautiful avocado green color. You know me, I love colored glass, and I sold this set for $35. It was a beautiful set of 4 glasses, and those went to Cheryl in Texas, and she also left me a 5-star review, so thank you so much, Cheryl. Moving on to the next item that sold in the month of September, that was this really cute little milk glass bud vase. And this bud vase I got for 50 cents. I actually bought several bud vases in kind of the same store, I believe. And they were all like at a thrift store flea market thing. And I got 3 of them, and they were all kind of uniquely shaped. I had never really seen one shaped like this, and so it immediately stood out to me. So I bought this one for around 50 cents and ended up selling it for I believe $10, and so that was a good sale. All right, moving on to the next item. This was something that was again given to me for free. This was another beautiful avocado green item, colored glass item, and that was an Enesco toothpick holder. When I first got this, which I believe was from my aunt, I didn't know what it was, so I had to do some research, and lo and behold, it was a toothpick holder, I guess. I can kind of see it. I thought maybe it was like a mini bud vase or something. I think it could be any of those. But it was mid-century modern. It was beautiful. It was colored glass. And so I put it on my Etsy shop. I ended up selling this for $12, and that sold to somebody from Texas. And so yeah, that was a great sale for September. And again, 100% profit because it was given to me for free, which you cannot beat that. And so anytime family members or people I know, people I go to church with, friends, whatever, tell me they have items that they want me to see because they know I sell vintage, I'm like, I'm in. Most of the time, it can be stuff that you don't actually want, but you can find some hidden gems, believe me, believe me. And then I've also mentioned, you know, my aunt and my mom are like professional yard salers, pretty much, not really, but like they're just really good at it and they go out all the time. They find me stuff all of the time, like it's kind of crazy. I'm like, you guys really don't need to buy me this much stuff, but they do. So I'm a little bit spoiled when it comes to that. All right, next up was another great sale in the month of September. This was something that had been on my Etsy shop forever, so long. But it was from a local antique mall for around $10. It was actually originally listed around $15 or $20, but it was on sale. It was very unique, and it was this vintage Susan Paley Lydia's Leopard Coat candlestick holder. Very cool and unique item, and that ended up selling for $35. And I guess it sold as a gift because it was marked as a gift, which is pretty cool. I love it when I can send a gift out for somebody. I've done that a few times on my Etsy shop. All right, moving on to the last sale for the month of September. That was this vintage 1974 Little Peter Cottontail book, an illustrated children's book. This was something that was given to me for free from my grandmother because she's just obviously lived a very long and fulfilling life and has collected things over the years, a lot of which are vintage now. And she knows I sell vintage items, and so every once in a while, she'll send something to me via my mom or my aunt, or I'll be at her house and she's like, hey, I've got something for you. And oftentimes it's a pretty cool find. She got me that children's book and then one that sold in my last What Sold video, which ended up selling for $45. This one only sold for $10. It was smaller and also a little bit more common of a book. The other one was a lot less common. It was called like Dooley and the Snort Snoot or something like that. But Little Peter Cottontail, more common of a book, but still pretty cool from 1974. And also there was some issues with the binding on the book being a little bit loose, and so I didn't want to price up too high on that. But that sold for $10. All right, guys, so that is everything that sold in the month of September. Now we're gonna head over to the month of October. As you could see there, let's just quickly hit that. I believe we did hit the goal for September of the 5 sales. Yeah, so we had 6. So we hit that goal of at least 5 sales. So that was exciting for the month of September because I had just set that goal in like August, really, and hit it in August too, and so I was really excited about that. To get that again in the month of September. The first sale in the month of October beat the record, which I had just set a couple months before, for my largest sale yet. And that was this absolutely beautiful painted oil painting. It was from 1961, floral and fruit still art. If you watched one of my recent yard sale videos, you know I found this at a yard sale for $10. I was willing to pay $10 for it. Usually I wouldn't spend much around that price for really anything at a yard sale, but this was definitely worth it. Like I said, it was from 1961, artist signed, oil painting, framed in a beautiful wood frame. And so I sold this for $120. So that has definitely broken the record for me for the largest sale that I've ever had on Etsy, because before that it was $70. So really, really exciting. That sold to somebody in North Carolina. So that was a great way to start off the month of October. Okay, moving on to my next sale in the month of October, another really good sale because this is something that had been on my Etsy shop since really the very beginning. And this was a marbled pitcher and basin set. So if you think of like the old homes that didn't have running water, they often would have a pitcher and basin in the room for people to wash their hands and, you know, clean their face, maybe even take a little bit of a sponge bath or something like that. This was like a mini version of that. And it was really, really beautiful. I got so many favorites on this thing, so much traction for it, but it would just not sell. I do not know why it took so long. Literally, like 2 years basically, it sat on my Etsy, but I did not budge on the price. I knew it was worth somewhere around the amount that I had put because it was such a unique and fun item. And that sold for $60 to somebody from New York. And so yeah, I was really, really excited when that item sold. So back to back, really decent sales for the month of October. So again, a really, really great start for this month. Moving on to, we mentioned something that had been on Etsy for forever to something that had just been put up and like a week later it sold. That was this vintage butterfly floral miniature ceramic planter. Again, in one of my recent videos, you probably would have seen this if you watched I think a vintage haul that I did from the yard sales. I picked this up in that same yard sale route where I got that beautiful oil painting. I had never really seen anything like that before with that beautiful butterfly pattern on it. And so I knew this was going to sell right away because it was just so gorgeous, and things with butterflies just seem to be really, really popular, which honestly I understand because I love butterflies. So yeah, that sold really quickly. I got that for, I think, 50 cents. Maybe even less than that because I think it was listed for 50 cents and everything was like half off at this yard sale, so it might have been 25 cents. But all I had was like the sticker for what I wrote down on the spreadsheet, but I'm pretty sure I paid less than 50 cents for it. And that sold for $20. So great sale there, great profit there. All right, moving on to the next sale for the month of October. That was this really beautiful milk glass pedestal bowl. This is sold to Heidi in Washington State, and she left me a 5-star review. Thank you so much, Heidi. I really, really appreciate that. That was something that was given to me for free. It had been on my shop for a really long time. Probably since last summer, and it ended up selling for $25. So that was another really good sale. All right, guys, so you saw I came up just a little bit short of my goal for the month of October, only 4 sales, but honestly, I'm okay with it because the sale quantity, like even though I didn't get to the 5, like the quality of sale was like much bigger than normal with 2 major ticket items that had been on my Etsy shop selling. That felt like a really big win for me. So I was really excited even though I didn't hit that goal of trying to get to 5 sales in the month of October. But definitely continuing to try and reach that goal for the rest of this year. But guys, that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what type of details you would like as far as, what the item sold for and how much I bought it for. I'm trying to be as detailed as possible because I know a lot of you also sell on Etsy or other platforms, and so that information can be really important to you. But also you may be thinking about selling on Etsy or another platform, thinking about getting into the realm of reselling, and so you're just like, I would really like to understand what does profit margin look like and what can I actually make on Etsy. I'll just tell you, it varies, and I have to say, as I have been on Etsy for a few years now, my journey has progressed a lot, because if you would go back and watch my first video, which is my what sold in my first 6 months on Etsy, you'll see how much things have changed. I was selling some stuff that's probably not really vintage, and then also I was selling some stuff that just was kind of underpriced. It was a mixed bag, really, if you go back and watch that video. And I a couple months ago made a comment on there just to let people know, this is not exactly representative of where I am today on my Etsy shop, but it is really cool to go back and watch that video and see how far I have come from the very beginning stages of being on Etsy. And if you followed me from the beginning, then you've been able to be a part of that journey and have seen how much I've grown as an Etsy shop owner and also a person that loves and seeks out vintage. There's a lot to learn in this space, and I am nowhere near close to being where I want to be as far as truly knowing this stuff, and I don't know if I'll ever get there. But what's great about this community is a lot of people, especially in the comments of that first video, were very, very helpful to me, letting me know hey, maybe don't lean into those type of products more because that doesn't actually fit Etsy's guideline, or also maybe you need to do a little bit more research in this area just so that you're not underselling yourself or undervaluing what you're doing on Etsy. those were all super helpful and things that I needed to hear. And so that's what's made this YouTube journey so special to me, and also this small business journey super special to me. You learn as you go, and that's just kind of how it is. And so yeah, it's been really exciting, and I am very excited to continue it. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. I will catch you all in the next video. Bye.